Shalom uvracha. I'm returning now from another Shiva call, from another Beis Avel, and the tragedy of these times is so tangible, is so terrible, that we have no words to speak. How are we able to continue living in such terrible times when we have the duality, this duality of life, that on the one hand we believe that everything is under the hashgacha, the providence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, His supervision that's with us always, and on the other hand, the obligation, the simple, the absolute obligation to live in a natural world that obligates us, the simple duty to take care, to take precautions, to comply completely with all of the directives that are there for our safety. How do we live in this duality? How can we understand? On the one hand, we believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu controls the world. Everything that happens is from Him. While on the other hand, the obligation to live a natural life of care, of precaution, of making sure that we comply with all the directives. The answer to this duality, the answer to the difficulty that we continue to go through, how do we balance these two things, is in this week's parasha, Parashas Bo. We learn on the one hand, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim. This month is the first of all months, meaning we live in a special framework of time that teaches us that everything is under HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hashgacha. Everything is nisim. Chodesh Nisan, a chodesh of nes, of miracles. And the miracles of Yetzias Mitzrayim teach us that everything that happens to us is a miracle. We say in Moed every day in our davening, V'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu, the miracles that are with us always. But at the same time, the very festival of Pesach, the Torah teaches us, Shmor es chodesh ha'aviv v'asisa Pesach le'Hashem, the chodesh, the month of Pesach, has to be in spring, in Aviv. And from here we learn that our year is a natural year. It's a year that begins in Tishrei, where we plow the field, where we sow our produce, and where we harvest our produce at the end of the year. And if we don't go through those motions of living in the natural year, in the natural world, then we won't have anything to eat. The fact that we're living in a Nisan world, in a world of miracles, in a world that begins with Pesach, that won't help us. First and foremost, I don't know foremost, but first of all, we have to live in the natural world. The Gemara in Maseches Nida tells us that if a person wants wealth, if a person wants wisdom, if a person wants children, then he has to do what people do in the world in order to procure wealth and wisdom and children. He has to do business to have wealth, and he has to study, sit in the study hall and learn if he wants wisdom. But the Gemara says that many have done this and it didn't work. Says the Gemara, we need to have another level. We need to daven to Hashem, to He who the wealth is His, and to He who the wisdom is His, and the children are His. And we need both things. The Gemara says, one without the other doesn't help. First of all, we're natural people. We live in a natural world, in a world of nature, and that's our world. We have that world too. If we don't live in that world, then we won't live. So first of all, yes, do business, study, do what it takes to have children. All of these are the natural activities that we are beholden to. We can't avoid them. But at the same time, we have a special task. Our mission is to bring another layer to that natural layer. Yes, we live in that natural world, but there's another layer that we have to draw into it, another layer that pervades our life, and that's the layer of Nisan, the layer of Pesach, the layer of Yetzias Mitzrayim, V'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu. And the Ramban says, at the end of the parasha, the Ramban says that a person that doesn't believe that everything that happens to us is a miracle, that it doesn't have any teva uminhage shel olam klal, such a person doesn't have a chelek, doesn't have a portion in Torah's Moshe. The entire Torah comes to teach us, comes to educate us in that layer, the layer of a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is with us always, that pervades our lives constantly, a layer of nace, a layer of miracle that's with us always. However, that layer doesn't come to supplant, it doesn't come to replace the natural layer in which we live. First of all, we live in a natural world. We are beholden, we are duty bound to do everything it takes to live in that world. And in this time, it requires us to do everything, every precaution, every safety measure, to comply with every directive, to be careful. How many more levayas, Rahman al-Itzlan, do we need to go to? How many more Batei Avel, Shiva calls do we need to make to understand that we need to take every precaution in the world to make sure that we stay safe and that we keep others safe? And on that layer, we draw a layer of elevation, a layer of ashkacha, a layer of closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a layer of relationship, constant relationship. Yes, that's our duty, to bring that layer into the world. But it mustn't replace, it mustn't supersede the basic level of living in the natural world, the way that we have to live in. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should send us a Yeshua Kroiva. We should learn to live on these both of these levels, to do our part, and to daven to Hashem that He should do His part to bring us a close salvation from the continued troubles that we experience today. We should all have a refuah shlema to all that require it, and we should have a wonderful Shabbos.